I think we should go back to England, where Sam Allardyce has been appointed Leeds boss until the end of the season, at the very least, after the club sacked head coach Javi Gracia following just 2.5 months in charge. Former England manager Allardyce, who has been out of work since leaving West Brom in May 2021, makes a shock return to football to try and save Leeds from Premier League relegation with only 4 games of the season remaining. A tall order, if you ask me. The 68-year-old faces a daunting run-in that includes a visit to leaders Manchester City, then home games against Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur, as well as a trip to West Ham United. Allardyce, who previously rescued Sunderland and Crystal Palace from potential relegation, becomes the club's fourth head coach of the season and will hold a press conference today. This is just more news that upsets me about the status of Chelsea. We are sharing something in common with Leeds United, which is we've hired a fourth manager for the season. Um, can Sam Allardyce do this? 4 games left in the season. I mean, if anyone could, it's Big Sam, right?
Of all, he should be the second oldest coach in the league, right? I think Roy Hodgson's
Yeah.
75 is the oldest. Sam Allardyce should be the second oldest. Uh, he's done it over the time. In fact, I don't think he has any other CV aside from trying to save teams from relegation zone. But if
Yeah.
you look at the table right now, there are 3 teams of 30 points: Leeds United, Leicester City, and Nottingham Forest, right? And these 3 teams are 4 points behind West Ham. West Ham, who is on 15th position. West Ham have played a game less. So if West Ham play their next game and win, that is 37 points. So they are 7 points above all of Leicester City, Leeds, and Nottingham Forest. What this paints to us is, regardless of what these guys are going to do for the next 4 games, Leeds United, Leicester City, Nottingham Forest, Everton, and Southampton are going to just shuffle around each other for who goes down. And I am saying Southampton are done at Dunstead, they are going down. I think Everton will join them. But I want Nottingham Forest to stay, probably because of my Nigeria affiliations with Taiwo Awoniyi and
I
the rest
mean,
of it.
if a club spends so much money to buy 22 players, if they go down, questions will be asked. Hello?
Right? And can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I said there are one of the teams that have stuck with their manager. Steve Cooper is still there. When other people are sacking left, right, I mean, Leicester City just signed Dean Smith alongside John Terry. Steve Cooper is still there, which means there is something. Let's go back to Chelsea. I can argue this with anybody that if Thomas Tuchel was still there, this team will have recovered. This team would have looked like something that had a shape, because he wasn't suffering because he was bad. He was suffering because there was a transition he had to recover from. And he just got the jiggle on the puzzle. He signed Aubameyang. Imagine what Aubameyang would have done under Tuchel. Then you sacked Tuchel that same day. That was just the calamity. So we now go back to Leeds United and see, yes, they've signed Sam Allardyce. They need to save their season. They are conceding more than they are scoring. They are a very wonderful
But
side.
if they were going to make this big change, why do it? Why wait until there's only 4 games left in the season? 4 games? I mean, even if he wins 2 and draws 2, there's every chance Everton could pick up 3 wins, and that could be enough to keep them up.
The thing is, it had to go very bad for them to make a decision. Right? It had to go very bad. I mean, they've lost 4 in their last 5 games. It had to go very bad. And, like I always say, most times we usually attach sacking as a solution to these things. It's deeper than just sacking. Sacking might just look like the fast approach, the woo to the answer. But more often than not, it could be the players. It could be a mutiny. Do you want to tell me that Chelsea players are intentionally playing? Are not intentionally playing as bad as they are. Like, they cannot face the goalpost and actually shoot to the top right corner or to the top left corner, or press R2, at least just press R2 with your shot. That's all you need to do, and you will score. I was on Twitter recently, and somebody was like, if anytime the cursor comes on Kepa, the guy just dey drink goal. So if it's just like the person controlling his pad is not working. So Chelsea are just victims of different names, and that is what Todd Boehly has reduced the club to.
Well,
so it is beyond signing, it's beyond appointment. Something deeper is going on.
Well, obviously, if they had signed a number 9, if they had whittled down the squad, those would have been two issues that would have made it easier for the team to be manageable. I don't believe Graham Potter would have found a solution, even with those two problems being resolved. However, I think it would have made it easier for whatever manager who in charge, even Frank Lampard right now, to look at the squad and say, this is my first 11. This is who I'm not going to play at all for the rest of the season because they're probably not good enough, and I'm going to wait until the end of the season so we can ship them off. And these are the players that are going to be my backups. And as long as I have a number 9 who is fit, I have someone who knows how to hang around the box 18, who knows how to bully defenders, who knows how to beat them one-on-one, and who knows how to punish a goalkeeper when he's facing him head-on.
Let me play host for a few seconds and ask you two questions. First off, do you believe that Chelsea probably might have 4 centre forwards next season? They still have Aubameyang. Nkunku looks like a done deal is coming. Lukaku is still their player, is coming back. And there is an Armando Broja that would return from injury. So they have possibility of 4 number 9s that would now be looking for game time. Another problem for the incoming coach.
You didn't mention...
Now, look back to the last...
You didn't mention Datro Fofana.
Just take a look at that. That's number 5. And that guy is not even making the matchday squad. Eventually, maybe he will be playing for the reserve team. So that is the headache that the new coach needs to, who is going to go. And this is the same thing that let go of about 3-4 attackers last summer. Werner left this club, Odoi left this club, right? They have players that left. So they need Ziyech, Pulisic, they are still in this thing. It's a problem.
It's a problem. I understand it's a problem, and we lack the capacity. And there are people in that dressing room who are watching replays, and their family members are screaming, "Brother Bernard." But I think if we say these are the players who are going to definitely play, who are definitely going to start, Aubameyang is going to leave. There is no way around that. Datro Fofana is a player for the future, so he's going to be in the reserve squad. I think we suffered. We didn't realize just how badly we were going to miss Armando Broja when he got injured. But Armando Broja and whatever striker they bring on next season, and I still don't count Nkunku as a striker. I think there's every likelihood that Nkunku will play as a number 10, especially if we sell Kai Havertz. I'm praying that we sell Kai Havertz. This is a hope. This is a prayer. This is a dream of mine. This is a wish that I am sending all the way to the North Pole to Santa Claus to fulfill. This is something I hope nobody stands in the way of. Whatever God has joined together, let nobody pull asunder. Well, in this case, God has torn it asunder. Let nobody try to repair the bonds. As long as Kai Havertz is gone next season, I think the strikers we might be looking at will be Armando Broja as possibly a backup. Nkunku could, if need be, play in the number 9 position, but only if needs must. But then I think we'll go out for one major striker, and ultimately we will have 2 first-team strikers. 2 first-team strikers. And I think that will be the future of the Chelsea forward line. It's been it will be interesting to see what the summer holds, because Chelsea are not going to be the only ones making big moves. Even though Manchester City are overstuffed with talent, they could still go out and still buy somebody else. Um,
Yeah.
Manchester United are definitely going to be going out for somebody. I am hearing that Kolo Muane is being considered for £105 million. Ridiculous. They'll probably settle for somewhere around 80 million. There's been talk of Goncalo Ramos in the past, given the kind of deal Chelsea ended up with Enzo Fernandez coming to Chelsea, which I don't think was a bad purchase. I think it was an absolute world-class purchase. However, Goncalo Ramos is probably going to be a player that Benfica demands £100 million for. In fact, all the strikers that Manchester United are looking to buy potentially, Harry Kane, Kolo Muane, Victor Osimhen,
Victor Osimhen.
Goncalo Ramos, they are all being tagged as 100, 120, 130, maybe even £150 million in Victor Osimhen's case. Um, and aside from that, depending on who takes over the managerial seat at Tottenham Hotspur, if they decide to release some money for him, there could be some movement in the market as well, especially if Harry Kane does leave and does go to Manchester United. The league and Liverpool will be out again trying to recruit. Um, Chelsea will not be alone, and they might even find themselves in the same situation as they were in the summer, where they were vying for players that the rivals around them were vying for. At the very least, one advantage of next season, if we sort out our situation, is no Champions League, no European football to distract the club from just focusing on consistent week in, week out performances, which will be mostly limited to the weekend. Um,
Look at, sorry,
yeah.
I don't think not being in Europe is an excuse. I wonder why people always mention
No,
that.
no, not
It was never an
excuse.
excuse for Arsenal. He never worked for Arsenal.
Well,
Arsenal
that's
have been,
Arsenal.
especially last season. Arsenal had one of the same team that are vying for the title now, barring Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. Arsenal were nowhere outside London, and they couldn't make top four. It's
Well,
not a guarantee. Man City play every tournament every
but
season,
Man
and they
City
almost
are
win
Man
everything.
City. Let's face it,
So
Man
it's
City.
not an excuse for a big club as Chelsea that you are not
It's
playing in
look,
Europe. That is why
listen
you
to
should
me.
play well.
Look, listen to me. It's not about an excuse. It's not really about an excuse. My main point about that is that when you don't have to worry about injuries piling up, when you don't have to worry about traveling and fatigue, it can be a focusing tool. Now, we cannot compare Chelsea with Arsenal, because when Chelsea are playing good football, their focus to win the competitions they're in is almost unparalleled. I think if Chelsea can recapture the kind of early days under Jose Mourinho's first era, under Abramovich, then regardless of how much effort Eric Ten Hag puts in at Manchester United, regardless of how dynamic and how Gbenga pressing Liverpool are, Chelsea will be the strongest competitors and rivals to Manchester City's mentality. Let's say that mentality. Whereas when you talk about Arsenal, they can bottle it even with 10 points ahead of the pack. They could bottle it. That's Arsenal. That's Tottenham. That is the level of class that those teams are capable of. At the same time, they've overachieved this season, so I will not say that they are incapable of going the distance. They still could win the league this season. Meanwhile, thank you again, Gbenga, for joining me on the
Wait,
show.
hope you know we are losing, right?
Sorry,
Number
who?
17. Morocco is beating us right now, 1-0.
I, I try to count one heartbreak at a time. Thanks again for joining the show.
No, we have to face this heartbreak together. We are Nigerians.
Goodbye.
Take care. Thanks for
Take,
having me.
always a pleasure.